Good morning, troops. Welcome to another day in paradise. And this morning, there's been a development at Chelsea which affects us in so much that, and I know some of you get massively turned off by this whole supporters, but we've got to cover it because it is important. Because you can't have it both ways. Now, I know there's a big difference between what fans really feel and really are interested in and what goes on in the media. No better example than like the Euros, the World Cup. Back pages are full of it. You can't buy a Snickers bar that doesn't say proud official chocolate bar of blah blah blah. But numbers online crash. Fans don't have the interest in it. That's the truth. So anyway, as far as fan protests and so forth go, it's going to catch a lot of media attention, and obviously you're going to get these sort of social media elders like Lineker and all these other clowns come out with their take on it, and the rights and the wrongs and the wherefores. But it's important that we cover it because I think we've got a pretty awful supporters trust, and I'm very concerned about how dangerous they might be in the scheme of things. And whilst I have very little time for ENIC and its representatives on earth, I don't like phrases like the devil you know, because it's like careful what you wish for. They're sort of negators of discussion. But at least we know how Levy works, and his motives to me and that of his master on the boat are at least something we can calculate. I don't really want to queer the pitch and bring in an assortment of Marxists and ne'er-do-wells and people who want to kind of plague us with governance and all that nonsense. I'd like to keep things as straightforward as possible. If anything truly appalling happens, opposed to something truly appalling being suggested, then fine, we can discuss that when we come to it. Right, anyway, the news is that Chelsea have announced that as of the 1st of July, so they're not messing around. This isn't like from next year or anything. And I'm doing this split screen thing, so you have to forgive my eyeline from wandering from where you are. But they've come up with something which I think is a bit of a coup, because it will bring fans into the boardroom, into the club. And in fact, I think this is a more honest arrangement than dealing with a supporters trust. I've made the point on numerous occasions that the supporters trust doesn't represent me. I've never given them any money. I don't agree with most of what they get up to, and I can't abide the way they communicate. To me, in simple language, they don't speak properly. So I don't have any affinity with those individuals. In fact, the further away from me they are, the better my day is. But what Chelsea have done here is they've really kind of opened it up. And I've done a blog about it, which may accompany this, depending on the upload time. But what I find fascinating about it, and I don't know if it was deliberate or it's just come out that way, but whoever's put this together has inadvertently or deliberately created a scenario which would actually devolve power from the current recognised supporters groups. And I can't help but feel there's probably a lot of Chelsea fans who feel like me, that they don't feel that those people speak to them or speak for them on every occasion, and that there's stuff that they wouldn't mind just an ordinary Joe. And if it was somebody who was elected, and this is the thing that has been going through my criticism of the trust, is this whole business of I didn't vote for any of these people. So if you want to get involved and you want to have eyes and ears in the boardroom, then you can actually enter into a situation where you can vote for somebody to participate on your behalf, which is how democracy works. The opposite of a democracy is to stand on a pavement screaming and shouting that you want somebody out and somebody else in. And I don't live in that country. I don't know where these people think but anyway. So what Chelsea are doing is they're going to offer a deal whereby through a selection process, fans forums, blah, 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 non-official support groups, to discuss proposing 3 supporter advisors. So these are non-executive, non-director thing, no competition winners, voted in by a Marxist mob. This is like they go to all the fans and say, if you're interested in doing this, we can offer you 3 chairs. I don't know if these people will be in there all at once, or they'll be rotated, or what the deal is. But it's an inclusive and diverse move, they say, and they get it done before the start of the season. Confidentiality Agreement, which is a standard thing which they'd have for everybody in the club. And these supporter advisors don't have any voting rights, and they'd be on a quarterly deal for going in for meetings 4 times a year. And at the end of it, if the whole thing goes okay, they're going to give £2,500 to a registered charity on behalf of the club, which you take it or leave it. But the point being is that what they've done is they brought in a situation for their support whereby it will give them a sense of not ownership, but a sense of awareness. And I think that's what most fans are really interested in, because most fans are football fans. Now, you might get some football fans who are bureaucratic heads who, are absolutely fascinated by the detail in the internal mechanisms of the business and all this. And we saw this during the stadium knockdown, demolition and rebuild. All of a sudden, we had these absolute freaks that were infesting that skyscraper thing website. And they would go, oh, yes, that's a .9 caliber girder going in there. I mean, each to their own. Each to their own. There's something for everybody out there, as long as it's all safe, huh? But the point being is that what Chelsea have done here is really clever, and should appease a lot of concerned fans. I have to say, you'd have to be pretty dumb to think this is them opening the doors. The reality is that some of you will be aware, the way an executive board works is there's an awful lot of conversations, an awful lot of dialogue and noise that goes on outside of the boardroom. And the boardroom is something you come in to discuss stuff that's already been kind of filtrated down. So you draw up the agenda and you have, any other business and all that sort of business. But the point I'm making is that if you were planning to do something dastardly, such as join the European Super League, you wouldn't be just talking about the provision for ketchup sachets and then whether you needed to keep an eye on staff movements throughout the holiday period. And then somebody says, oh, by the way, yes, Jeff, what is it? What about joining the European Super League? It doesn't work like that. So what these fans are going to be seeing is, if you like, it's the end product. So it's a bit. So I was just about to go into a convoluted analogy there, but this is a bit like working in a bakery. You're either in the kitchen where the ovens are, or you're bringing out the warm stuff and putting it on the shelves. And this is warm stuff, putting it on the shelves. This is not kneading the dough. This is not sourcing the flour. All of that stuff has been done well ahead of the board meeting. So, what should Daniel Levy do? I personally would, if I was Mr. Levy, I would just hunker down and ride this out. They're not going to turn up every week. The more they turn up, the more interest the police are going to have in them. People are going back to work. I can see this thing blowing itself out, especially in the close season. Standing outside a football stadium that's effectively shut, you're not really going to achieve very much, and the media is going to lose interest. The media is going to lose interest so fast you've got no idea. So I'd hunker down and ride it out. But if he wanted to throw these people a bone, and if he wanted, and this is the key thing for me, if he wanted to devolve power, cede power away from the Supporters Trust, this is ideal. Because all of a sudden, they just become one of many. And they, fans forums. I mean, I could set up a fans forum. I've got plenty of traffic. I could set up a fans forum and I could nominate somebody, a reader, whoever, a competition winner, to be one of the people that goes in to the board meetings at Tottenham. And there's nothing the trust could do about it. Equally, I can't do anything about their involvement But crucially, they have already told us, hand on heart, or heart, that's what's happening, reverse thing on the, what's it? Hand on heart, they've already said they don't want to do it themselves. So, hoist by your own petard very much. I hope so. Anyway, that's the talking point for today. And good luck. Keep it on.